In a summary, we are going to talk about the statement by the excellent regardless, where he claimed to have sat in the evening with Kikuyu elders or Mrima elders, and they had given out conditions. They had given out conditions that the musicians who visited Kindiki should be blacklisted. That is the basis of today's discussion. The central musicians who went to see Kindiki are, among other things, content creators. Through this channel, I am also a content creator. So I think I understand them. In my opinion, comparing musicians of the earlier times, that is musicians who used to use vinyl records, musicians who used to use cassettes, and today's musician of content creation through social media like YouTube, I would comfortably say that compared to the past, musicians who are content creators today are earning off well. Many people of my age and many people who are older than me may not be aware of what used to happen during the records day. What used to happen during records day is that you would go to an Asian's studio. He had a few musicians there. You would say the song that you wanted to record. They would assist you to record the record that you wanted to record. Then the Indian would give you 3,000 shillings during those days. He would give you 3,000 shillings, and that would be the end of the story. So every time anybody bought a vinyl record, thinking that he was promoting you, he was not. Because after you as a musician had been paid the 3,000 shillings, which was a lot during those days, whether the record sold well or sold poorly, it was now up to the Indian. But what musicians used to do is that if you have recorded such a record, they were social events, nightclubs, social events, and whatever. They would invite you and you would be paid for playing that music there. But anything sold in form of a record, the money used to go to the Indian. Then later on, that was in the 60s and 70s. Late 70s and 80s and 90s, we had a cassette. People started cassette. I don't know what used to happen with the cassettes, but what I know is that this time stealing now went to the ordinary people. We had radio cassettes which had two places to place the cassette. So you play the cassette on one side and the other cassette is blank, is recording. It is so people when it came to cassettes, dubbing, that is the language they used to use, dubbing now started. But what happens to content creators today, or let me say musicians of today who go to YouTube? Just like me, the more people watch my video is the more that I earn. I know of some months that I get 10 times more than other months because of two reasons. That is depending on, you remember Christmas time, people are spending money. And about January or February, school fees, people do not even have bundles. So you'll find that today, and also the content you are recording, there is a content that I can record which people want to watch. There are others, especially very historical things. You tell people about things that you even wonder. Like there is a Lingala video where I have translated the Bible into Lord's Prayer. Lord's Prayer in Lingala has not even reached 200 views. But I can assure you that this one, within an hour or so, it will already have 200 views. So what I'm saying is that in content creation, it is now up to you to come up with the content that will convince viewers to watch more. So in today's recordings, I would rather advise, I would tell a musician that he or she is getting the best, because it depends on the content. If the content encourages people to watch, they watch a lot of them. What any leader should do is to assist such people in content. Yes, Kindiki is wrong to concentrate on mrima musicians only. What Kindiki is talking about, I also, I'm also on Skiza Tune, and Skiza Tune, I think there is a problem there. What I get in YouTube in a month is more than what I ever gotten my Skiza for the last, is it 5 years? If I were to count what I got in, what I'm getting from Skizatune from when I started, to the time to now, that is over 5 years ago, even before COVID. If you put it all together and you consider what YouTube has paid me in the last month, what YouTube have paid me for the last month is more than Skizatune. I agree with the Kindiki when he says that there is a problem. There is a problem. You know that YouTube, you are paid from the USA. US pay you in foreign currencies. So when we get money, we look at the exchange rates, because you are paid in dollars or foreign currency. Now, if you are paid in foreign currency, if you will do your withdrawal today, uh, as compared to somebody who will wait until when the Kenyan money is low, I hope you understand that. But it is funny that I don't think that I've never met any Kenyan who has complained about YouTube, which is not a Kenyan company, about payment. I am one of them and a good member of them. But Safaricom and Skizatune are Kenyan. Why is it that things that are done for Kenya by Kenyans, we always have a problem with that? We are underpaid. So Kindiki was right when he was saying that he is concerned, but he was wrong to concentrate on only Skizatune people from Mrima. Everybody is facing it. I'm also facing it because, as I said, I've always been underpaid in my Skizatune. But when we look at excellent regardless, you know the person I mean, excellent regardless, who is deceptive, confused person, DCP, deceptive, confused person, wants to control Mrima in a more worse way than Raila did to Luo Nyanza. Actually, the Odinga family just kept themselves in political control and nothing else. We have never had anything from the Odinga family going beyond political control. But this one is even heading to a place where He would even tell people what to eat, what to cook on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. There were rumors were that when he was the deputy president, his Mitegos told him whenever someone had gone to State House, he would quarrel the individual. He would quarrel the individual and ask the individual, why didn't you ask me for permission to go State House, to State House? Why didn't you inform me that you are going to State House? Of course, we know why people went to State House without passing through him. Because Ruto is a political squirrel, if not a political hare. So what Ruto would be doing is trying to wrestle the regional kingpin while the regional kingpin is not seeing. But whenever uh, excellent regardless, would be told by his Mitegos that so and so had visited State House from Rima, he quarreled that person. He would always want anybody wanting to go to State House from Rima had to seek for permission from him. And two, he wanted anybody from Rima who wanted to go to State House to tell him what was discussed. The rumors that we used to hear, he himself has now confirmed it. His so-called meeting with Wazes from Rima now point to the fact that the day that he will now point to the fact that from the day that he became the deputy president, he felt that he was the king of mrima. It is funny that such a leader should not just imagine, but also publicly state that. Him saying that with a few elders from Mrima can dictate on whom the Kikuyus musicians can visit is really unfortunate. He states that the musicians must seek for forgiveness. I think that the Constitution of Kenya gives each and every Kenyan above the age of 18 the permission to interact and integrate with anybody. Does it mean that those from Rima have got to get permission from excellent regardless? I thought the Constitution of Kenya says that anybody can interact with anybody, so long as that interaction is not criminal. And of course, what the musician went to do was not criminal. During my time, we had somebody who was called David Okiki Amayo from Karachuonyo. He had his KANU disciplinary committee. It was so powerful that people feared KANU disciplinary committee more than they feared Moi. They were the law unto themselves. The committee once castigated a minister for foreign affairs for whatever the minister had said on Kenyan foreign policy. The minister for foreign affairs had gone abroad, and when he was abroad, he was challenged on human rights activities abroad. When they were challenged about, when he was challenged about Kenya human rights activity, he answered it in such a way. When he came back to Kenya, he was summoned before the KANU disciplinary committee, and he was castigated for not getting clearance from KANU party to state that. He cried publicly before that, but he was saved by the president. You see, when it comes to matters of foreign affairs, nobody can question the Minister for Foreign Affairs. apart from his appointing authority, who is the president. Excellent regardless is taking us back to those days. And as if that is not enough, he says that if these musicians don't offer apologies, they would either they would not enter they would not enter any entertainment joint. I don't know. To me, that sounds like blackmail. I've always believed that apologies should be conditionless. Now, since these musicians will know that they cannot enter any joint without apologizing, they may apologize for the sake of getting to a place, to a joint to perform. And even said that any such entertainment joint that invites them should be blacklisted. Should be blacklisted. Now, when you bought the plot, be it a nightclub, be it a church, be it anything, be it a social hall, you took your earnings, be it even a loan, bought a plot, took more funds, constructed the place through your own sweat. You are still paying for it. And even if you have paid for it, it is now time. It is like planting a fruit tree. When planting, you sleep on an hungry stomach, an empty stomach. When planting, you get money. Instead of buying food, you go and buy fertilizer. We have some fertilizers that are called top dressing and so on. You even pay workers to take care of your fruit tree. When the fruits now start coming, you take your sofa set, lie below the fruit tree, enjoy the fruits of your labor, which in this case are fruits. Now, that is the time now you get somebody that the excellent regardless, who says that you should not invite so and so. And you see, this musician may be famous. You just know that if I invite so and so, let me give an example of Samido. A lot of people will attend that gathering. And the more the people attend, the more that I get. Because in any meeting, in any such gathering where 100 people attend, you do not get money as much as somebody where 1,000 people attend. First of all, you get a lot of money through the entry money. Two, you'll be selling food and drinks, and people will buy more drinks the more the people come. But here you are now being told that just like those days when you wanted to contest for a political seat, you had to get Kanu clearance certificate. Now, for you to have guests from mrima entertaining people at your joint, you have to get mrima clearance certificate from excellent regardless and his phantomic council of elders. So if my understanding of the statement is right, when a mrima person subscribed to the musical channel, remember, even this channel, you subscribed it, isn't it? And he didn't ask for permission. You see, when the mrima person was subscribing to those musicians channel, they did not ask for permission from anybody. They just were impressed by that person, isn't it? But now he is ordered to unsubscribe. You are being told to unsubscribe. This is a repetition of what happened a few times before. You remember when people are being told to avoid certain banks, they were also told to avoid, I think, Safaricom, because it was believed that those people financed uh, anti-Raila election. So now we are being told that people from mrima are are now being told the way some people are told the other time, change your line from Safaricom to other ones, because Safaricom, I think that is the time when even mm, what is his name, the CEO became sick, and some people say the Muchawi amemroga. So we are going back to that situation where a regional leader wakes up and says, don't be dealing with this and this and that. A Mrima person is not allowed to visit a social joint which the musician has been blacklisted because of a group of elders have said so. You hear stories that so and so is a musician is coming to such and such a place to perform. You have listened to him on radio, you have watched him on video, you have done whatever. Now you want to see him in life or her, but then you are told that you should not go to his place. And the person who built that place, who invested in building that place, has been told by somebody who does not even give you. I know I'm 49% Mrima, not just Mrima. I'm 49% Wamunyoro, because Wamunyoro to Kayaba, those who have been to Kamunyoro, 90% of people who go to Wamunyoro must pass through Kayaba. I am from Kayaba. So just because somebody has said so, and Mrima people are known they are very good in business. So if you don't want such a thing, why don't you give a financial alternative to that? A Mrima person is not allowed to invite musicians of his choice until they are vetted by today's Okiki Amayo. Now, if Gashagwa, or is it regardless, if excellent regardless today is being that dictatorial when he's not even a village elder, what of if he becomes the president? Now, investments. Let us talk investments. A leader, any leader, is supposed to uplift the economic empowerment of his people and not to reverse it. Has excellent regardless come up with ways of uplifting musicians, even if they are just from Mrima? No, he's just out there to undermine them. Optimistic and pessimistic. Somebody out to uplift and somebody out to uplift and other to can we call it push down or something like that. Allow me to say how simple musicians nowadays does. Allow me to say how a simple musician nowadays does. He or she goes to a studio. You may have seen me with the guitars and whatever. Whenever I go to a studio, I find those things like Bloom. Hmm? So you go to a studio. When you go to a studio, you get equipments there. The studio owner may not even be a musician, but he or she has all the musical equipment. So today's musician goes to a studio. He hires other musicians because he'll look for somebody who's good in drums, piano, guitar, etc. Even look for somebody who are good in singing. Using the studio equipment which he has hired, he will hire those studio equipment for several practice sessions, which he or she pays from his or her pocket. Now they do a lot of practices, and then they are convinced that after the practices, they have found a good music. Then he uses those hired musicians with the hired equipment, with the hired studio to record in an audio format. Soon after, he or she uses more funds in redoing that thing with a video recording. The audio team is good in instruments and sound, but the video is good in dressing, looks, and dancing. Actually, those video recordings, they do not even sing. There is music there singing in and live, so they just mimic it. With all that expenses, it is at that point that someone expects returns, which may or may not come. You may use a lot of money in hiring a studio. You may for recording and practice session. You may use the studio equipment for hiring. You may hire musicians. You may hire dancers for video recording. And then at the end of the day, that thing is not liked by people. Just like there are some videos I put a lot of effort, I put a lot of research, I do a lot of thinking and whatever. Once I upload it, you find that, like I said, the Lord's Prayer. It is now 1.5 years since I uploaded the Lord's Prayer in Lingala. Up to today, 1.5 years, I think this very particular video, after 1.5 days, will have more viewership than the Lord's Prayer in Lingala. So it is up to the viewer to choose what he or she wants to see. You can spend a lot of money in what I've just said, but it would come out to be that it can come just like I've given the research that I've done on this video, which basically is not even a research, it's just out of mind, is not even 5% of what I did in the Lord's Prayer. But you'll find they say the customer is always right. So the customer prefers this one. And when it comes to the musicians where we were talking, you'll find that when it comes to the musician, you'll find that he or she will have invested a lot. Will have invested a lot in what I've just said. That is the studio, the equipment, the musician, everything, because you pay them everything. You will never tell a studio person that you end. Okay, there is a handful who would agree to sign with you that any payment you get you share, but majority of them is you pay everything and you may get nothing. So what the deceptive, confused person should have come up with was a way of uplifting these people. He has funds, he has money, and he pretends to be the king of mrima. Why can't he start with a few places, buy a shop in a trading center, place their equipment and whatever, so that the musicians from mrima, even if it is mrima, yes, I will be one of the people who will complain that he has done from home, but he would have saved. If you save one person, you have saved mankind. If he does that, the musicians would have had a lot of places to practice for free, or or they will pay something small for electricity and the security guards to guard those property. And even when it comes to the time for recording, they would just go to the studios to record. That one would also that one would be just a studio of itself, whereby they will, maybe that time of recording is when they'll be asked to pay something, a fraction of what they would pay in a commercial studio, for what I said: electricity, water, and the payment of watchmen. That is what a leader should be. not this type of leaders that we are seeing.